In this lesson, we want to move an object using the touches on the screen. Let's head into Xcode. And in here, I'm going to go ahead and start a new project called Touches Moved. So in the Touches Moved application, I'm going to do actually a very similar thing to what I did last time, which is I'm going to make a red box. So here, I'm going to get rid of all of these real quick at IB outlet, weak variable, let's call it red of the type UI view. I'm going to head into my storyboard. Some of these things I do rather quickly simply because I feel like by now you should have a lot of confidence and comfort in doing this. So there isn't really a point of me going through the details of them. So here is the red object. I'm going to put it in the middle. And in here, I'm going to say this is the red object. Perfect. So now we have that taken care of. And in here, I want to use another built-in function, which is called the touches moved. Keep in mind that we have a touches cancelled as well. That is for a situation when the touch gets cancelled, for instance, when an incoming phone call. So you might want to assume that something should happen in that situation. So I'm going to use the touches moved. And in here, in the touches moved, the very first thing that we want to be doing is, again, we want to get our touch. So I'm going to say, let's first test to see how many touches we have. I'm going to say if touches.count was larger than 1, then return. Don't do anything. So if the user has landed more than one tap, let's not do anything. Otherwise, let the touch to be the touches.first. So let's get the very first touch. Then I'm going to say if touch.view was not red, again return. So once again, if we haven't been touching the red view, we don't want to be really doing anything. And then the final piece in here is I want to say that if the touch was on the red, we want to move it with the tap. So I'm going to say red.center becomes, and then we find the position of the touch. I'm going to say touch.location in view, and that view is the self.view. Let's see what I have written here. I've said find the location of the touch within the self.view and then put that as the new center for the red. So wherever my touch is against the main view, make that the new center for the red. And it's giving me a warning saying that I don't know if this location actually exists or not. I'm going to say it actually does exist. This is a case of force unwrapping a value, and we're going to say this position actually does exist. Another option for this would be that they could actually offer a default value for it. In here, I could say that if this value existed, then do that. If it didn't exist, then do this, self.view.center. So if you could find a new location, put the red over there. Otherwise, put it at the center of the view. Now let's go ahead and run this application and let's see if all of these things are actually going to work. When I touch anywhere that is not the red, it shouldn't really do anything. Also, if I touch more than one button, I can hold the option button on Mac keyboard to simulate more than one touch. So if I do that, also nothing should happen. But if I do touch on the red, I should grab its center and put it anywhere that I like. So I can actually move it around and put it in different places. And using this, you could potentially make something like a very silly video game that you could potentially put some objects in different places. For instance, you could put placeholders, and when the touch lands, you could test to see if those centers are near each other. It means the user has put it in the right place, and if they are not near, you could even push them back to where they used to be. So that's pretty much it for how we use touches moved. There is a little bit of an extension to this lesson, and that is something I want to kind of leave it on you. And that is right now, if I go and I touch the center of this object and move it around, it actually works very well. But if I touch any of the corners, what will happen is that the object will jump to that corner. Basically, the center of it will be where my mouse pointer is or where the user's touch is, like this one. I can't grab the object from any of the corners of it. No matter what I do, whenever I touch this, the object always is moving from its center, which might be useful for some situations, but necessarily is not useful for all situations. So I leave that to you to figure out how we can actually find that where we have touched on the object and how can we move it from that location. As a quick hint, I tell you that you have to actually add your touches began and remember where you actually tapped on the object right at the very beginning, and then offset that from the current movement. It won't be as simple as I'm explaining it, but it's not all that complex either. Try to give it a shot on your own and figure it out. So let's keep it up to here and let's move on to our next lesson.